Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Sidemenreact video. This is weapons even the military made illegal. That sounds terrifying, first of all. What? Secondly, what? And thirdly, what? So, with that being said, we're gonna get into this terrifying video right now.
Today we are going to be learning about some pretty messed up weapons that even the military made illegal.
War is dirty business, and in the aftermath of the First World War, the nations of the world moved to limit the scope of its destructive impact. Horrified by the mass casualties inflicted by chemical gas attacks, in 1925, at the initiative of the United States, France, and Poland, the League of Nations drafted the Protocol for the Prohibition of the Use in War of Asphyxiating, Poisonous, or Other Gases, and of Bacteriological Methods of Warfare. In essence, international law forbade the use of chemical or biological weapons in war. Since then, other weapons have been added to that list, all with the intent purpose of limiting human suffering or damage to the Earth itself. Without further ado, here are the top 10 banned weapons of war. Number 10, mustard gas. First synthesized in 1822, it wasn't until 1860 that the dangerous properties of mustard gas were documented. As a chemical weapon and dubbed the king of the battle gases, mustard gas is surprisingly the least lethal of all the various chemicals that were used in World War I, and it's estimated that only about 1 to 5% of the people exposed to it were killed.
Oh, that's fine,
Mustard
man.
gas's real power lay in the terror it could
Harry.
troops, as well as the incapacitating effect exposure had on unprotected soldiers. Inhaled into the lungs, it could be fatal, but while a gas mask would protect from inhalation, there was nothing soldiers could do to protect their exposed skin. The effects of exposure were not immediate, but within hours, the skin would begin to blister, specifically in moist areas such as the armpits and genitals. As the blisters popped, they would often become infected, which is where mustard gas became one of the most lethal gas weapons ever used. Infection typically kills more soldiers in war than actual combat does. Worst of all, exposure created sensitivity, and further exposure at even lower doses would cause a reaction. Number 9, chlorine gas. Another of the gases used extensively in World War I. It was first deployed by the Germans at Ypres on the 22nd of April, 1915. Though an 1899 treaty had forbidden the use of gas in war, the Germans sidestepped the wording in the treaty by releasing the gas from canisters, not projectiles, as outlined in the treaty.
Planning to release the gas from their own. We have a treaty that no one's going to use it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if a country's like oh yeah, we want to take over the world or take over an area. Are they really going to listen to a treaty?
And it's like, okay, we're going to use it. What are you going to do? Go to war with us? You're already at war with us.
It's a good point.
You
know what it probably is? Nowadays, it'll be if it's two countries fighting and one of them's been too naughty, then other countries will then react against them because you'll be like, fucking hell, you're taking it too far now. If they stay within the rules.
Calm down, you two.
You need to calm down and hug it out.
Towards the French forces, and then let the heavier-than-air gas drift across no man's land and sink into the French trenches. The attack was successful, and 100 French troops were killed. Chlorine gas irritates the eyes, nose, lungs, and throat, and in high enough concentrations can fill the lungs and funnel by asphyxiation. Though seen as a horrific weapon of war, the Germans argued that the intent was to actually shorten the length of the war, and thus limit overall suffering.
That's crazy. They just let it drift over. Just waited till the wind's blown their way and just sent it in like a secret little
kind of thing.
Phosgene gas. Mustard gas may have been dubbed the king of the battle gases, but when it comes to sheer lethality, no other gas used in World War I could top phosgene. Colorless and smelling like moldy hay, not an uncommon smell in the trenches of Europe, most troops did not realize they had even been exposed.
What was World War I? Because World War II was Hitler. What were the Germans mad about in World War I? What was that?
Assassination of. Didn't it start with the assassination of Franz Ferdinand? Was that?
I don't remember.
Same.
Archduke Franz Ferdinand got assassinated, and he was presumptive heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne.
So why are they called Franz Ferdinand? Like, that seems like a really random person to name yourself after.
Yeah, this is mad complicated.
Fucking shit went down. Shit went down.
I'm trying to TLDR it, but yeah, a man got shot and then shit hit the fan.
A slow-acting gas, victims' lungs would fill with fluid, and after a day or two, would suffocate to death. No
God,
treatment
that's a long
existed
one,
at the time, and the best a medic could do is make victims comfortable. Although the Germans were the first to use Phosgene, it became the weapon of choice for the Allies and would ultimately be responsible for 85% of the 1.2 million casualties of
Jesus Christ.
Imagine you're the guy that discovered that could kill people, and you're like, right, let's put it into production, and like 1 million people have like had a horrible death because of it. The world used to be tapped. It still is.
It used to be.
I was like, it's still tapped, I'm not gonna
Number
lie.
7, nerve gas. In 2017, 100 people, including children, were killed in a nerve gas attack in Syria by pro-government forces, with hundreds left injured. An independent investigation later identified the culprit as sarin gas, a highly lethal nerve agent. Banned by international treaty, nerve agents are some of the most lethal forms of chemical warfare weapons and work by disrupting the ability for nerves in the body to transmit chemical messages between
wow.
each
A long
other.
day if you have
Colorless,
one of these,
tasteless, and odorless, the first sign of
short one.
exposure is uncontrolled drooling from the mouth, followed
Oh, so
by
VX
foaming.
is one of these.
Nausea
VX
and
is a
stomach
nerve
cramps
agent,
follow,
that's what it is.
along with uncontrollable urination and diarrhea. Eventually, the victim's lungs become paralyzed, leaving them unable to breathe. Number 6,
Jeez.
plastic landmines. Landmines
what?
have been around for centuries, albeit in very crude fashion. Some of the first ever used were by the Chinese during the Song dynasty against an assault by the Mongols. Filling cast iron cannonball shells with gunpowder, they had an extremely long fuse which had to be lit by hand by brave ambushers just hundreds of feet away from the enemy. Modern landmines are completely autonomous and can vary in tripping mechanisms from pressure
Landmines, a long day as well, bro. Stuffing on one of
Advent
those
of the
things.
metal detector, landmines were designed using
Everything
plastic
in
in
this
order
video
to
is a
avoid
long day,
detection.
Harry.
However,
I know.
You're not wrong.
there was difficulty in locating fragments via X-ray by treating physicians. This would cause prolonged
Right, what?
suffering and was ultimately seen as
Why did they
inhumane.
just
Number
act
5,
that out?
I don't know.
I don't
biological
know.
weapons.
I don't know.
Though around for nearly the entire time that man has waged war against itself, biological weapons were only recently banned under international law. Most biological weapons take the form of weaponized disease agents such as bacteria and viruses, but they can also include fungi, toxins, and rickettsae, parasites
they
that
infect
normally
them.
affect arthropods but can be deadly in humans. Modern conventions don't just protect people from biological weapons, but actually prohibit their use against plants and animals as well, preventing nations from engineering plagues that can wipe out a nation's livestock or crops and thus creating famine.
That would be a good tactic, you know, because you're not directly killing the people. You infect all their cows, infect all their
Yeah.
sheep. They're
Why are you saying this like you're...
Yeah,
you're-
exactly. I'm like, Henry.
Oh no, I think it's quite clever.
I know what you're saying, but Henry.
It's like in the olden days when they used to siege castles and they'd cut off supplies to the castles and then the people inside would starve and they'd have to surrender.
Number 4, flamethrowers.
Oh, yes.
Made famous for their use in
These
World
are
War II.
banned!
Flamethrowers were the answer
What a
to
disgrace.
combating enemies entrenched inside fortified bunkers or underground
Gosh
tunnels.
dang it,
In these
Harry,
confined
come
spaces,
on.
flamethrowers can actually be more lethal by sucking the oxygen out of the atmosphere than from their actual flames. While technically not illegal, their use around civilian areas has been banned due to the incredible damage they can inflict on infrastructure and their inability to be properly aimed. Number 3, napalm. Another weapon made
I've heard of
famous by
napalm.
the Vietnam War, napalm was actually developed in 1942 at Harvard University. As a
Really?
mixture
I
of
didn't
a
know
gelling
that.
agent and some kind of fuel such as gasoline,
Damn,
napalm was
Harvard's
originally
evil, you
designed
know.
to be used as an incendiary device against buildings, but was later primarily used as an anti-personnel weapon. As the sticky substance sticks to the skin, it produces severe burns, and sharing
like,
in
is it
many
like
of the same
what's it, a
characteristics.
flaming cock? What's it called? A flame? what's it
Molotov
called?
cocktail.
A molotov? Yeah, is it like that? And then you just put it.
But that uses not really.
No.
That's alcohol.
That's just alcohol.
Alcohol
Yeah.
is a fuel.
That's not
This is
like a sticky
imagine
substance kind
It's
of.
like a sticky fire substance.
Oh,
so,
you'd
like,
be.
And you just
So like you try and
burns.
stop,
Carries
drop,
the
and
burn.
roll, and you just carry on. It will stay on you and stay on fire. Like,
As a flamethrower, it can also make it impossible for individuals to breathe. Though not outlawed for military use, its use in civilian population centers is illegal, once again due to their propensity for incredible property damage and inability to fully control its effects. Number 2, poisoned bullets. Early bullets weren't very accurate or powerful, so militaries around the world would spike them with small amounts of poison or fecal matter.
Oh
While
my
not
gosh.
adding any immediate
What?
lethality, a
Poo?
poison
Bro,
bullet-
imagine going home and be like, oh yeah, I got shot with a poo bullet.
I mean, you probably become very infected very quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
You become
Uh,
septic as quickly as possible. Like, you'd be fucked.
Imagine, like, Oh, I died to poo.
Yeah, genuinely.
It wasn't the bullet that killed him, it was the molecule of shit that was on him.
Deliver toxic compounds deep into the body and result in serious infection that would set in long after a battle took place. In modern projectiles, the addition
This
of
Donny
poison
should be
would
banned.
largely useless as well, as modern bullets
He
are
really
already
should.
devastatingly powerful. Because of the lack of immediate lethality and suffering caused long after a conflict is over, poison bullets have long been banned by international law. And finally, number 1, dirty bombs. Nuclear weapons
What
are
is
bad
that?
enough, and the international community has been unsuccessfully trying to ban them since their inception. Nuclear weapons are primarily designed to destroy military or civilian targets, yet to achieve maximum explosive impact, they are detonated high above their target where the pressure wave can spread. This has the side effect
That's
of
like
causing
Hiroshima
most
and
of
that,
the
right?
radiation released to be harmlessly blasted up into space or dispersed over a very wide area, limiting its effect. A dirty bomb, however, is a device that is designed primarily to create radiological fallout rather than kill outright, with the goal of poisoning land, sea, and air for a very
Oh,
long
wow.
time. A regular nuclear weapon can be converted into a dirty bomb by simply programming it to detonate at ground level, thus creating massive plumes of radioactive debris and irradiating dozens of square miles. However, other devices, such as a cobalt bomb, can be detonated high up in the air and produce tremendous amounts of radioactive fallout. These dirty or salted bombs have long been banned due to the long-lasting and catastrophic damage they do to large swaths of the environment. Man
Wow.
has waged war since his inception,
mad.
but it's
That's
only in the
mad.
last few centuries that we've begun to try and limit the scope of the destruction that we inflict on each other. As technology progresses and makes more apocalyptic and destructive weapons available, perhaps it's a sign of hope that even the most embittered enemies, such as the Soviet Union and the USA, have abided by these international laws. Maybe one day we can even move to outlaw war altogether.
Why can't someone work, instead of working on like a nuclear weapon, why can't they work on like a reverse nuclear weapon? Where you take away the radiation?
I'd
like-
imagine they are, but...
And I
there's a
feel
lot
like the
of
damage is
it.
already
Yeah,
done
it's-
though. By the time
Do
it
it
can be
quicker.
activated, it's already fucked to build it quicker.
Yeah, that is. It's. Yeah, I can't even English. I'm. I just can't fathom the. It's more that because of me as a person, I hate conflict in general, and just seeing that. It's just. It's so devastating to just see, and I don't like it. Like, why? Like, whose idea would, like, who thought that was a good idea to do any of this? You know what I mean? So it's just like, ugh. So other than that, hopefully you guys were informed while watching this, and make sure to go check out the boys' links down in the description as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Alright? Bye.